The Curse of the Dark Forest, Chapter 1. The Mysterious Disappearance. It was a cold autumn evening when Leyla entered the dense forest that had long been whispered about in her village. The forest was known for its eerie silence, and most people avoided it, but Leyla, desperate to find her brother Sim, had no choice. He had disappeared a week ago, leaving behind nothing but a single shoe, covered in mud, on the edge of the forest. Her heart raced as she walked deeper into the trees. The once familiar forest now seemed like a labyrinth of shadows. Every crack of a twig underfoot made her jump. Every gust of wind felt like a whisper in her ear. It was as if the forest itself was alive, watching her, waiting. Leyla kept telling herself that Sim was out there, somewhere, waiting for her to find him. She could hear his laughter in her mind, the way his voice would echo in the house when they used to play together. But now, everything had changed. The joyful memories felt like distant echoes, replaced by the cold silence that surrounded her. As she moved forward, the trees seemed to close in around her, their twisted branches reaching out like fingers. The path ahead became less clear, and Leyla felt a strange pull, a sense that something was guiding her deeper into the forest. Hours passed, or maybe it was only minutes. Time seemed to warp in this place. The moon was barely visible through the thick canopy, and the only light she had was the weak beam from her flashlight. Her hands trembled as she tried to steady the beam, but it flickered, growing weaker with each step. And then, just as she was about to turn back, the flashlight went out completely, plunging her into complete darkness. Leyla's breath quickened and her pulse raced in her ears. She fumbled in her bag for another light source, but all she found was her brother's lost shoe. Suddenly, a soft whisper echoed through the trees. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't an animal. It was something human. The voice was faint but clear. "Leave, or you'll never leave this place." Leyla froze, her heart pounding in her chest. She turned slowly, but there was no one in sight, just the forest, dark and still. But that voice, that warning, sent a chill down her spine. In the distance, she saw a faint light flickering, like a candle. It was coming from the direction of an old, decaying cabin. It had been years since anyone had lived there. The village folks said the cabin was cursed, that it was the source of the strange happenings in the forest. Leyla had heard the stories, but she couldn't turn back now. She had to find Sim. With a mixture of fear and determination, Leyla made her way toward the cabin, each step feeling heavier than the last. The trees seemed to part as she approached, the path ahead clearer, almost as if the forest itself was guiding her. But as she neared the cabin, a feeling of dread washed over her. The air grew thick, suffocating. The whispering voice returned, louder now, more urgent. "Turn back, or you'll join them." Leyla reached for the door handle. It was cold and damp beneath her fingers. She hesitated for a moment, but then, with a deep breath, she opened the door. Inside, the room was empty, save for an old wooden table and a flickering candle in the corner. But on the floor, scattered about, were photographs. Pictures of missing people, people who had disappeared over the years. And in the middle of the pile was a picture of Sim. Her heart skipped a beat. The photo was recent, taken just before he had gone missing. His smile was wide, but there was something wrong about the way he looked, something unnatural. And then as she knelt down to pick up the photo, the door slammed shut behind her. The darkness was complete. A low, guttural laugh filled the room, sending a wave of terror through her. A voice whispered again, this time directly in her ear. "Now you're mine, Leyla." The lights flickered once more, and Leyla realized the forest's curse was not just a story. She was no longer alone. Chapter 1 ends.